Mazda consistently tweaks their models with every new model year. Sometimes the refinements happen under the trim and fittings, and other times they're a little bit more obvious. Our snapshot is on this 2020 Mazda CX-9 Signature. Now, we featured two preceding model years to date, finished in the same snowflake white paint like this one here. We're going over what's different for 2020 and why the CX-9 is still the three-row midsize premium crossover class leader. So yes, Mazda refines their vehicles pretty much every model year, and sometimes you can't tell because they're so subtle. But in this case, not only is there some stuff underneath the trim work that's been updated, but also things that you will notice. So let's go over everything that's changed for the 2020 Mazda CX-9 here in Canada. The GS trim, which is our entry level here in Canada, adds G-Vector and Control Plus that is now standard across the board for the CX-9. You also get the automatic hold with electronic parking brake. The 18-inch alloy rims get a dark gray metallic color, and Mazda's also improved the engine, now producing 320 pound-feet of torque with 93 octane fuel. That's 10 pound-feet more than previous. Also, front-wheel drive is no longer available here in Canada. All CX-9 models are all-wheel drive. Mazda has also added an off-road traction assist mode to all trims for the CX-9. There's a little button on the left side of your steering area. That is a new feature across the board. The GSL trim, the next one up, gets an updated 9-inch infotainment system that is 2 additional inches of screen real estate that still uses the same version of Mazda's infotainment software. Hasn't been updated to what we're seeing on the Mazda 3. It is a bit of a bummer. It would have been nice if it was updated to the newer software, but what can you do? Bigger screen is better. The 20-inch alloy rims on that get a silver metallic color. One of the big visual changes also is the new optional captain's chairs available on the GSL and GT trims. This removes the third seat in the middle and has 2 captain's chairs. Very nice feature. If you don't necessarily use the full space on the CX-9 for passengers, you like it more because of the ride, the quietness, and the comfort. Maybe you are a family of 3 or 4 like myself. We only have 3 passengers going into it, so having those captain's chairs might be good for children. The GT adds satin chrome plated glove box lever. That's something that we saw on the Signature trim. You have a power rear lift gate, which adds a programmable height and hands-free opening. So you swipe your foot and it will open up. And you also have an additional USB port in the 3rd row. And now for the whole reason why you're here, the Signature trim gets the most updates for 2020, like ours here. The 20-inch alloy rims have a new gunmetal color. Those 2nd row captain's chairs are the only option with the Signature, and they add a premium console with armrest and storage. Extremely deep storage option in the center, and it replicates the opening mechanism found on the front row. So you have some additional space there, a little storage compartment underneath the cup holder area. Looks really nice. And again, if you're a family, maybe you're using this for Uber, whatever it may be, you have some premium feel back there for the 2nd row. Heated seats are still outboard on that because there's no 3rd seat in there. You can just say that the 2nd row has heated seats, and the controls for that are in the center console. Looks pretty nice. Mazda has also added the Soul Red Crystal Metallic and Deep Crystal Blue Metallic for the Signature trim, and they've also changed the color of the interior Nappa leather. Before, it was the regular Chroma Brown was the only available option for the CX-9 Signature. They've added the Deep Chestnut that we've seen on the Mazda 6, as well as the Pure White Nappa leather, which was on the Mazda 6. With this color, we have the Deep Chestnut, but depending on which paint color you go with, you either have the option of one or the other, or both. So you have 2 options now at the top end trim. Looks really nice. Aside from that, pretty much everything is the same from the 2019 that we featured about a year ago exactly. So if you want to know everything else that's been updated over the couple of years that we've been featuring the CX-9, you can check out that video, and you can even go back. We've done 2 videos on the 2018 CX-9. But now let's jump into it, see how it performs on the road, and see if there's anything different about it with the updated G-Vector and Control Plus, along with everything else that comes with the 2020 Mazda CX-9 Signature. One of the first things that you'll realize when you get into the 2020 Mazda CX-9 Signature is just how quiet and smooth everything really is. I was commenting on my Instagram the other day that when I pulled the car into the garage the first time I brought it home, it's almost like it was a hybrid or an electric. There was so little sound that you could hear from the passenger compartment. it's spooky. Mazda does a great job making sure that the overall driving experience is really top notch. And you feel it the minute you get into this car. And even though they haven't really made any changes for 2020 when it comes to sound insulation, it's still class leading. Now, we have done this before, haven't done it in a little while just because I don't know how scientific it is, but let's see. We're gonna go exactly 50 kilometers an hour, which we're a little quick right now. We're gonna do exactly 50 kilometers an hour and see what my Apple Watch says we're doing in terms of noise. So let's see here. It's 58. That's really good. Now let's try up at 100. If you were on the highway, how does that make a difference? Looking at about 65, 66. Obviously it's a little difficult because these roads are crap. But if you were on the highway and it was smoother still, I mean, that's really good noise levels for a mid-sized consumer crossover. You can easily have a conversation with your passengers. So no issues when it comes to noise, really nice. I mean, the interior here is still one of my favorites. It's not overly futuristic. The larger infotainment screen is a nice plus to have. Would have been nice, again, like we mentioned outside, if it was the same one that we found on the Mazda 3, the actual software itself, but it is nicer to have a bigger screen. I mean, we're moving in that direction. A lot of the other vehicles in this segment now are going with bigger screens. You can get much more powerful software, but it still works. You just got to deal with the startup lag and small issues with that. But overall, though, the Mazda CX-9 is still one of our top picks when it comes to family hauling crossovers. Personally, I think it works better as a two-row vehicle like we have it here, especially with the captain's chairs. If you have a family of 3 or 4, then everybody's going to be comfortable with plenty of storage in the back. That third row is one of the smallest ones in the segment, and you will feel it. Adults are going to have a pretty rough time back there. Younger kids, maybe around 10, shouldn't be too bad. You do have the USB ports there, so if you are on a longer trip, you've got kids back there and they have tablets, they want to be able to charge it up, that works out. But overall, space in that third row is a little tighter, though Mazda has prioritized overall storage space, and we're going to be talking about that in about a couple days. If you're watching this live, maybe about a week, we're going to be doing a showdown with the 2020 Kia Sorento. So if you're actually interested in seeing more about the segment, not necessarily just this car, you can stay tuned for that. But in terms of the CX-9 itself, it improves on what the 2019 did so well. There's no real negatives aside from the infotainment, maybe lack of a panoramic sunroof. Everything works the way you'd want it to. And even fuel economy, it's pretty much what we did with the 2019. It's off by about 1/10 of a liter per test, and that's just difference of temperature and speed and everything that's going on. We can't always control what the conditions are like on our road tests. So overall, if you like the 2019, you're going to like the 2020 even more. But if you don't like the color of the interior here, that might be the one thing to put you off from it.